Conception, we grow from our own individual blueprint. But sometimes the plan goes wrong. Sometimes the body forgets when to stop growing. These harrowing photos are of a bygone era, but the condition that cursed the elephant man still exists here and now.
We don't know why the body is able to regulate us to be the exact size that we are. And we don't know why some people overgrow in some parts of their body.
3-year-old Devion has overgrowth syndrome. Parts of his body do not know when to stop growing.
It frustrates us when people just stare, in some cases whisper, and when it's an adult. Obviously, children are going to do that anyway because children are curious.
Devion was born with a massive growth on his side, an oversized right middle finger, and a lump of a left hand.
It looked like a starfish. Basically, his left hand looked like a starfish, and he had a large right middle finger. And I was like one of the first people to see him, and it totally took me by surprise because I had no anticipation of what was going on, and it just shocked me.
At 3 months, surgeons removed the growth on Devion's side.
So this is the first scar. It got pretty ugly down here.
At birth, it had been half his body size. But Devion's right middle finger and his left hand are still growing, and that has doctors stumped.
We don't know what the cause of the hand deformities are.
In spite of the obvious distress it causes, Devion's dressings have to be changed frequently.
The bleeding that Devion has had since he was younger has been probably our main problem because of all the pressure that's in his left hand and in his arm. He has pebbling on top of his skin, which bleed on their own sometimes, and there's been a few occasions where it's been out of control.
His hand is bursting. Saving it from possible amputation has become an obsession for his parents. The doctors couldn't explain Devion's bizarre growths, so Sharon set out to find out for herself. Little did she know that one man with a similar condition spent his entire life searching for the same answers, only to make a shocking discovery. 3-year-old Devion is carrying the curse of overgrowth syndrome. Doctors have been documenting the condition for centuries. Hands and feet that won't stop growing. Fleshy growths on odd parts of the body. But medicine has yet to come up with a cause or cure for this genetic aberration. Overgrowth syndrome is one of the rarest conditions known to man. But by a sheer coincidence, just across town, another person is afflicted with the same monstrous symptoms.
For 44 years now, I've known something's wrong or different about me. For 11 years, I've been hard at a quest to find out exactly what that is. I would like to know sometime before I die what's wrong with me.
Gordon has an overgrowth syndrome. That is to say, this is not cancer. This is normal tissue grown to too great an amount.
It was a beautiful day the day Gordon was born. I was so thrilled that we had our second son. But he did have some physical problems that the doctors could not explain.
It was every mother's heartbreak. Her unborn son was deformed. A large mass was growing on his side. His feet were grossly misshapen and out of proportion.
We asked the doctors there, and they just simply said, it's a birth defect. We don't know what caused it. Just live with it.
The first years of Gordon's life were just a blur of surgeries. Firstly, to remove the growth on his chest, and then to literally prune his feet back when they grew out of shape.
Hey, Mom, can you come wrap my foot, please?
Eventually, doctors were given no choice but to pare Gordon's foot back to the stump.
They basically took off the last 3 to 5 inches.
This is Gordon's own video of the amputation.
With that amputation, I can now walk without the amount of pain that I had to grow accustomed to.
The condition that was overtaking Gordon's body remained a complete mystery to he and his doctors. Until one day, Gordon was watching a documentary about this man. Joseph Merrick lived a wretched life in Victorian England. He, too, had an extreme overgrowth condition and has come to be known as the Elephant Man.
Elephant Man was diagnosed with Proteus syndrome in retrospect.
Then as I sat watching an Elephant Man special, they said that the Elephant Man, Joseph Merrick, was thought to suffer from Proteus. And as soon as I heard it, I said, Proteus, that's what he said I had.
Gordon decided to investigate his own medical history. When he retrieved his medical records from hospital, it was like holding up a mirror to a tragic past.
In all honesty, when I first saw the pictures of myself as a child, the term circus freak shot to mind right away.
Gordon has not only survived, he's beating his condition into insignificance. Devion's mother also asked her doctor about whether her son has Proteus.
Mom had asked about Proteus syndrome, and Proteus is an extremely rare syndrome. About 1 in a million live births will have Proteus syndrome. But he's missing one of the hallmark features, which is the hamartomas, which are the benign lesions that these kids have. And he simply doesn't have that key element to have Proteus.
Oh, sweetheart, let's turn you a little bit, okay?
Her search continued. The internet, medical libraries. Eventually, she found another overgrowth syndrome that seemed to match her son's symptoms.
He was officially diagnosed by just my investigation of it.
Devion had 2 of the 3 key symptoms for Klepper-Trenani, and during this routine checkup, Dr. Norika makes a significant discovery.
One of the things that I noticed right here is that this vein has become a lot more dilated than it was when he was a baby.
Yeah, right.
And so it looks like he now has all 3 elements of KT. This is the one element.
But a successful diagnosis will not quickly lead to a cure.
I think it's quite likely that the combination of genetics and what's known as developmental biology will unlock the mystery of these overgrowth syndromes such as Klepper-Trenani and Proteus syndrome.
While medicine tries to crack the genetic code of overgrowth syndrome, Devion has at least 2 things on his side: time and a mother who won't rest until those answers are found. And just to prove that if you don't mind, pain doesn't matter. Gordon and Devion are making the most out of every day, while science does its best to keep up with them.
It is hot. Oh.